I love a big archway. Most big cities seem to have dozens of them dotted around their city centres. I'm going to try and capture this one on my smartphone in a couple of different creative ways. Let's see if we can tell the story of this archway and indeed the people who are flooding through it in some maybe different ways to the obvious. Right, so first things first, let's try and get framed up as cleanly as we can. I've positioned myself right on this seam of the path, of the driveway that seems to go right through the middle of the arch. And just framing up, my aim is to try and get all of the verticals as vertical as they can be, the same with the horizontal, so my grid lines are enabled. It's a really bright day. The winter sun is low in the sky and it's causing a lot of glare on my screen. So just make sure that your brightness is turned up full. You may have an option on your phone to adjust how clear the grid lines are on your screen as well. But this is working for me. So really I'm using the verticals and the horizontals of my subject and using those with the grid lines on my phone to try and get the alignment that I want. And something else to be aware of is all the different axes in which your phone can be in and out of alignment. Just make sure that you are kind of your left and right, maybe that's your yaw, I'm not sure, is as it should be as well. Checking focus. There we go. I'm just tapping on the screen, not so much the focus here, but the exposure, I think, because this arch is a little bit in shadow. So just by tapping on the arch, just lifts the exposure a little bit. Now, the thing is, you are having to do several things at once here, and as much as there's lots of different ways in which you could lose your alignment. So you're looking at different bits of the screen to make sure that you haven't wobbled. But that is, as far as a basic shot of the arch is concerned, it's okay, but I think we can do maybe a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is, my phone's got several lenses on here. I'm going to go to my wide-angled lens, my 0.5 lens as it is on this phone. As soon as I switch over to the wide-angled lens, the arch takes on quite a different form, in as much as it seems a lot smaller. Well, yes, we've gone for wide-angle, therefore more of the scene is being let into the camera sensor. But the dimensions, the perspective of the arch seems to change as well. And as a result of that, it seems less imposing, more of a toy arch. Now, something that also becomes apparent with a framing like this that maybe wasn't so clear before, because we've got a lot more floor, we can see the shadows cast by the people as they walk through frame. This sun is really low, even though we're getting towards the middle of the day here. Sun is really low and it's casting these big shadows across frame from right to left, and I think that's actually quite fun to capture. So what I want to try and do, and it's the case with street photography, there's just a lot of waiting really. I want people walking in from the right hand side so I can capture their shadows without them being clipped off the left of frame. And there's quite a few people walking in. Here we go, people on the right now. There we go, lovely. So I think there's a few different things as well in terms of the framing. You can position the arch right in the center of frame, so you've got lots of the ground leading up to it and lots of the sky. You can tilt up a bit as well. That creates a really interesting sense of the sky being the important thing. It almost makes the archway seem more stumpy than it is. Let's just get one or two people walking into frame as well there. There we go. And then I guess the other option is to tilt down and really focus on the people walking into frame. As we get people walking straight towards us, their shadows falling nicely across the frame. Nice, like it. Okay, so I think we've got a few options there from the standard 1x lens, and then a few different framings with a wide-angled lens. Let's see which ones came out. This shot of the arch using the 1x standard zoom lens on my phone is nicely aligned and kind of nicely exposed. It almost takes on a kind of HDR feel to it, in as much as we've got lots of light from the sky, the ground is nice and light, and even though the archway itself was in shadow, it's also been nicely exposed. I kind of like, I can see how the sun is falling from the right of frame to the left, and I can see the golden highlights on the left, and it gets darker as we go across the frame. So yeah, overall, this is a good picture of the arch, not the most creative. Where it does start to fall apart for me a little bit perhaps is in the middle there, underneath the archway itself. I can see that there are some people there, but they're not particularly distinct, and they're not particularly adding any value to the image. I'd almost rather they weren't there. So a good shot. I think we can be a bit more creative though. This is the framing when we deployed the wide-angled lens on the camera. Now, we get a lot more context here. We've got this delicious blue sky. We get this ground leading up to it, and this lovely kind of line that leads our viewer's eye right to the middle of the arch. And also we can just see the sky peeking through the arch, mimicking the lovely blue elsewhere. I really like this. What it's missing for me though is the context of people. Again, we've got one or two people just maybe walking through, but they're so small in frame that they're not really helping to tell the story of the life of the arch, really. So I'm going to have another go, I think. Let's see if we can get one with some people in it. Here we go. This is a really quirky take, and I like it because of that. We've got somebody on two wheels, not on 2 feet, but on 2 wheels, having just cycled through the archway. And what they've done is cast this lovely shadow right across the frame from the right to the left. That low sun is helping not only to illuminate the side of the arch, but also to create this beautiful shadow. And the shadow complements the darks of the arch, also the almost silhouetted trees and countryside are on either side. It's a piece of classic architecture, but brought to life in a kind of quirky and modern way, and that's why this is my favourite shot of this archway, because it brings together the architecture, it brings together this beautiful sky, yet you've got this quirky cyclist with a lovely orange top complementing the colours all around. Yeah. This one really works for me.